Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Pubcon. I am Amanda Coulong, live with TechZulu.com, and I am sitting here with Carl Burckhardt, the Senior SEO Manager at Macy's. How are you?
Great, great.
So we're surviving. You know, we're in Vegas. It's a few days in. You know, how are you feeling about Pubcon so far?
So far, it's been pretty good. It's my first time attending. I think that there are a few sessions that were a little bit too basic, but then there are some other sessions that are pretty advanced. So it's a good mixture.
Well, you are the Senior SEO guy at Macy's, so of course some of them would seem basic to you.
Yeah, a little bit.
Speaking of sessions, though, Leo Laporte made quite a stink on stage, you know, with his keynote talking about search engines aren't going to be relevant in 6 months. Now, there's a lot of buzz going on around this particular discussion point. What are your thoughts on his statement?
So I don't think that search engines are going to be dead. I think it's what people go to as a reference for pretty much everything they do. So I think it's going to change. I don't think it's going to change in 6 months, but I think in about a year to 2 years, things are going to change and adapt to the mobile space more than the more traditional search path. You know?
That's interesting because I have had a lot of conversations with folks here about mobile's influence with search. What are your thoughts particularly? Do you think that there might be a shootout between Google and Apple?
That's a great question. I think it will come down to that. I think that they're both good, solid platforms. They both have good qualities for their phones and mobile apps. But I think that, in my opinion, I think that Google has more of a strong following in developers and free apps and their approach. And they're always on the edge, the cusp of like new things, you know. And I think Apple's there too, but I think that they're going to be coming head to head very soon. Actually, they're head to head now, but they're going to be coming more to a head very soon.
Do you think Apple will stop sending traffic to Google?
It's been talked about. I don't know, but it's been talked about.
And what are your thoughts on Google's latest updates? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that obviously impacts the SEO community. What are your thoughts there?
So the most recent one with, well, there's two that really stick out for me. So SSL. So I think that there's a lot to learn still about how that's going to impact us. Sure. So we're still scrambling to figure out, you know, what can we see, what we can't see. I think Matt Cutts addressed it pretty well this morning, and it was very insightful to hear that, you know, personal search search is being very personal. Mm-hmm. So not hiding, but really, well, yeah, hiding their search queries is the direction that they're going to, and it doesn't seem like it's going to go away. The second one is this the latest update that's going to impact 35% of the market, or 30% of the market, and we're still also learning what that impact is going to be for Macy's in general. So, yeah.
Speaking of personal, you know, we all do vanity searches on Google, and it's cool to see our names come up. What can an individual do? Because, you know, we always talk about our companies, but, you know, you as an individual, you're an SEO guy. I'm sure if we pulled you up, you probably have some great results for yourself. How can someone get some good, solid search results for their own personal brand?
I think it's a mixture of, so definitely grab a domain that has your name and create a blog or WordPress, whatever it might be, as a central housing or hub for all of your different ways of getting other traffic to your site. LinkedIn is really important. LinkedIn, Yelp. If you have a
Yelp,
business,
really?
Yeah, if you have a business, Yelp is also very good. Especially for localized search, and also for if you want to brand yourself and you have a lot of reviews on there, then you might come up in Yelp as someone that is an authoritative person in Yelp. And just making sure that you're always active in the blogs and communities in different areas, so that all that supports your overall hub, your website or blog.
Sure. And what about having a Google profile page? Because doesn't that show up on the first page of results?
It can. I think it's important. I think that again, it supports your whole hub, but make sure that everything that's in there, it's almost like a LinkedIn profile. The Google profile page is pretty much like that. So make sure everything is always interlinking with all your different stuff. So if you have a link to your LinkedIn profile and your home and your website, then it all supports it.
Okay. And social, obviously, you know, you've mentioned a few social sites just in this conversation, but it's grown so much. Who owns social? Is it your SEO team? Is it your PR team? Is it your social media manager? Who owns it? How do people coordinate together?
That is a great question. So social impacts a lot of different channels, a lot of different areas. So I think social should be its own department. because there's a strategic approach to social and from a branding perspective and engagement. But then there's also impact from that in using SEO techniques to help your SEO and making sure that you're linking and have good outreach to different people. I talk with my hands, sorry. And so,
Perfectly fine. I think we all do.
so social, it's shared. It should be shared. So it should be one central social that really understands the social space, and then partners where we all collaborate together so that we grow and strengthen all the different channels.
Well, I'm really big on tangible examples. So let's say that the PR department puts out a big announcement. How then would you leverage that for SEO purposes?
So making sure that in the announcement, if they call out a specific product or a specific area that's relevant to a particular query or search term, make sure that that's highlighted and linked to somewhere on your website. So for instance, and I'll give you an example of Macy's. Let's say they did a PR on this new Justin Bieber line, right? So in the PR, have a link that's pointing to Justin Bieber's product, or some of the stuff that he carries in his line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. And what about Facebook? How do you convert on Facebook? Is it a challenge? Is it murky waters? Does it work at all? What are your thoughts?
So Facebook in general is a really good approach. I think personally that when people are in Facebook, they don't want to leave that experience. Right. So companies should think, especially smaller companies.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, they don't want to leave that experience. So if you can give them that experience in your Facebook business page or profile, and maybe create some custom apps, so that if it's a product or a service that you're offering, they can actually submit their inquiry, or they can buy that product right on Facebook.
Oh, interesting point. So having Facebook sort of be the hub where you even do purchases, you're not sending people off to a separate site.
Exactly. Yep.
And thoughts about landing pages within Facebook, are those useful?
They are. They're absolutely useful, and there's also ways and methods to get those to rank. So getting those to rank for particular terms would also help. When people are searching for your product or whatever it might be, the Facebook landing page can show up in the search results, which is good.
And are you active on Twitter, Carl?
I am.
What is your handle?
Pretty active. It is at CBURCKH.
So make sure to follow him. Do you give out tips and tricks for SEO?
Yeah, I mean, overall.
You should.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're good at it.
Exactly. I do. But I think the main thing that everybody should think about if they're getting started with your website is just make sure you think of SEO when you buy your domain. I mean, that's where SEO starts, right? So when you buy that domain, think about what exactly do you want your customers to do and see when they land on on your homepage. Because overcrowding it or simplifying it too much can give a bad experience, and your bounce rate could be really high.
And would you also say that just like it's important to buy a good domain, is it also equally as important to go grab a particular name or handle, as people like to say, within all the social media sites at the same time?
Absolutely, and make sure it represents your brand. Another thing to bring up, if you're going to be active in Twitter as a brand, be careful how many Twitter accounts you have. There's a lot of companies in my past that I've worked with where they've had like up to 8. And it just confuses the customers. So, it's tradition. I think it'd be acceptable to have like a service channel, and then a corporate messaging channel.
Okay. Fair enough. And as it relates to grabbing your username for all these different social sites, is there one place where you can go find out if your username is available?
There might be, but I don't know if it's out. Yeah, I don't know where exactly. I usually just go right directly to the channels to find. Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, thank you so much, Carl. Again, with Macy's, make sure that you follow him. And I know we will be, and we will be hounding you for some tips and tricks in the future.
Absolutely.
You may even see him contributing on TechZulu. You never know.
That's right.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.